Entry is November 8th. There's money to be made here from $100 to $1,000 for the best business idea and executive summary. So remember the deadline's November 8th. If you need a packet, an entry packet, please email Stacy McKiff, and that's STACEE.MCIFF@snow.edu. So our presenter today is going to be introduced by Brent Boswell. He is a friend of the presenter, and he's also the director for the Juab County Economic Development. And I'll let him introduce you now. Introduce him now.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. I myself am a snow badger from back in the old days, so it's good to be home. You have a good opportunity to be here in person today. I spoke at this a couple of years ago in conjunction with being the entrepreneurial aspects of a novelist. And last week I was in Nevada at a high school, and some kids come up and said, "Hey, we saw you at the Snow College entrepreneur thing." They're watching this on TV, so Bruno, no pressure. But kids all over the place are watching this on little teeny screens when you guys had the opportunity to be right here in person, and most of all to ask the presenters a few questions as part of the presentation, and also catch them afterwards. And the presenters are always happy to visit with you and share what they know. So you're lucky to be here. They gave me something to read about Bruno on account of not wanting to embarrass him or anything like that. I've known Bruno for, seemed like 15, 20 years, but it's really only been about 4 or 5. Seems longer than it really is. But Bruno Vassel the fourth, and yes, his son is the fifth, began running a business when he was 10 years old, starting with painting house numbers on the curb. He studied finance at University of Utah, which we won't hold against him, Cougar fans, right? Studied finance at University of Utah, and then was recruited recruited into an early.com in 1998. He soon decided to start his own business, and in October of 1998, he co-founded iBoats.com. Over the next 17 years, Bruno and his team built iBoats to become the largest boating website on the internet. In 2004, iBoat was named the fastest growing privately held company in Utah. Overstock.com was the second. And it was named the 48th fastest growing privately held company in America by Inc. 500. Bruno sold iBoats in May of 2014. Bruno started several other successful companies in the last 6 years, and the combined revenue in all his businesses total over $350 million. Bruno is a father of 3 and is a passionate glider and airplane pilot. He loves to share his passion for soaring with anyone who will listen. His YouTube gliding channel has over 4 million views, and one of his videos was featured on the Weather Channel to over 15 million viewers. Bruno opened up the gliding at the Nephi Airport 4 years ago and has organized yearly gliding events, which has brought on an estimated $1 million into the local economy. That's what entrepreneurs do. Nephi just hosted the 2016 Gliding Nationals in June, where 65 of the country's top pilots competed for almost 2 weeks. Nephi is now recognized as one of the top gliding spots in the world, with large waiting lists to get into any event. I'll say this about Bruno, that he is the real deal. And it's an opportunity for you to be here today and listen to what this guy's done. He represents everything what's great about America. And he started these businesses when he was your age. When I meet with Bruno most of the time at our airport, and you don't know whether to look to the sky to see him fly in or if he's going to come in a different sports car each time. And so if you're interested in a life that has an opportunity to provide well for your family and also give back to the community, I strongly suggest you listen to what Bruno has to say. I'll also note that in his bio here, you'll see that he spent a good deal of his life working his guts out, but as he's got to a point now where he also does a lot of the things that he enjoys doing, and that's also one of the benefits of entrepreneurship, is if you do it right, you can spend the last part of your life working. I think Bruno will always work. It's in his blood. But he also does a lot of what he enjoys, and what he enjoys happens to also boost the economy and our community, and for that we're very thankful. So give a warm welcome to Bruno Vassel IV.
idea what he was going to say about me. That's what happens when a friend actually introduces you. Let me give you guys just a little tip that you might not know. Every time that you have a presenter come up here and they read a bio, who wrote that bio? I did. It was great, huh? So every time that somebody's doing a bio, just remember you can kind of snicker to yourself that they wrote that about themselves in third person. So just a little tidbit. Excited to be here. Beautiful campus. I have a niece and 2 nephews that come here, and I've heard about it and really enjoyed the drive coming up. And I'm excited to spend a little bit of time with you guys and just kind of share what I've learned along the way. I've had some fun experiences. I've had some challenging experiences, and I thought, if I were to talk to entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs, what would be the things that I'd share with them? So this is not going to be a travel log. This is going to be a little bit more different lessons that I learned, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So to get started, I want to really get a feel for who you guys are and gals. So let me ask you, actually, why are you here today? So I came up with 2 reasons of why you might be here today. Let's get this. This is my OCD coming. We'll get rid of the mouse. All right, so the first question is, who's here considering maybe starting your own business someday? Let me get a feel. Okay, good. All right, now let's talk the truth. Who's here for class credit? Okay, so we've got a mixture of you guys and girls. Well, tell you what, it's okay that not all of you are going to do your business. It takes a weird, twisted individual that really wants to do their own business. But let me tell you what, is if you start your own business, it can be amazing, it can be scary, it can be a lot of things. And if it works, that's then where it gets really fun and your life can be fun. So let me just jump right into this. So I'm only going to spend about a minute on this, on who I am. Brent already told you a little bit about my background, but right here, so here's Bruno the Fifth, and tell you what, you think there's a lot of pressure on him for there to be a Bruno the Sixth? So anyway, so that's my son, my clone. But I also have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters too. So that's my family. And iBoats.com. So back in '98, just out of curiosity, who here was born in '98 or after? Okay, I'm feeling a little bit old, so all right. So 1998, so the internet really started in about 95, 96. So come 98, I thought that I was way late to the game. I'm like, oh, internet's already here, it's huge. I don't even know if it's too late to get in. Obviously, hindsight, it was really early. So started up iBoats.com. I was 24 years old with my father. He was my angel investor and my partner. And as Brent said, over the next 16 and a half years, 17 years, we built it to be a really neat company, and it accomplished a lot of things. What iBoats was an online store. It was a classifieds and then also a community. So we really had all aspects of boating on the internet. And just kind of put it into perspective, we sold over 30,000 propellers per year. So pretty amazing. So that's about 100 propellers a day. And but we sold, I think we had about 20,000 SKUs. So kind of interesting. So iBoats.com, going along, and it was really fun. But I built too good of a management team, and so I was getting bored. So in '99, I decided to start another company. And so this company is called TailorMadeAwning.com. So I kind of stayed in where I was familiar with, and it was another .com. In this case, this was an awning company that was over 100 years old. So awnings, do you guys know what they are? Awnings are the things that roll out behind the house so that way it shades you. So this was a 100-plus-year-old company out of New York, and they'd never sold anything online. I was buying boat covers from them, so I thought, yeah. So we started talking, and I got the exclusive to then sell all of their covers online. So that was TailorMadeAwning.com, ran it for 6 years, and then sold that as well. Next thing is also in 99, a doctor buddy of mine, he approached me, my chiropractor, and he said, I've got this product that I developed, and I'm having a lot of success with it in my clinic, but I want to sell it online. I'm like, I have no interest, dude. But good friend, he kept pestering me, and finally I said, fine, let's do it. And so I helped him to build a website, and over 60,000 customers later, Amino Diet is still a strong diet company on the internet. And good product. I need to use it a little bit more, but it's a good product. So that's Amino Diet. And when we sold out a couple of years ago, I thought, great, I'm going to retire. I'm 40 years old. Life is good. And it's amazing how quickly you get bored. So if doing a lot of flying stuff, doing a lot of traveling, if you think that you can retire at 40 and you're good, just play golf every day, good luck. What you'll find is that you quickly start losing the meaning of what your life means. Yes, you're raising your family, this or that, but the other thing is that when you are working hard, you're a sharp edge. And when you stop working hard, you get dull really quick. And that's dull both on your work ethics, your personality, everything. So pretty soon, a couple of years after, I said, I got to do something else. So started up these next two businesses. Over the Top Floral is my wife's business that I've been helping her with. She is one of the best Utah wedding florists around. She's just amazing. We'll talk a little bit more about that and how that works. And then Utah Radon Services is my new business. So I'm an entrepreneur again. I started it a month ago, and it's fun, it's scary. I'm working 12 hours a day right now. I'm working weekends. And so I'm living this again. So I've lived it multiple times, and I'm living it again, and I'm having a real good time. All right, so it all comes down to flying. I don't care what anybody else says. That's the meaning of life. So anybody here a pilot? Anybody want to be a pilot? Okay, go learn how to fly gliders, and you'll have a good time. So this is my mistress. This is over Nephi area, and I won't go into too much gliding, but that's one of the reasons why I work hard, is for my family and then also to play hard. So let's jump into lessons learned. So the first question that you have to ask yourself when you're developing a business plan or a business is, why in the world should we win? Why should the marketplace choose me? Because tell you what, they don't care about a lot of things. They don't care if you're a nice person. They don't care if you're smart. They don't care if you're an Eagle Scout. They don't care who your daddy is. Or, hey, I grew up and I know Larry Miller. They don't care that. They don't care about what grades you got. It's good to get good grades. But it doesn't help you when you're trying to make a sales pitch for the very first time. A lot of people have a lot of good ideas. Who here has ever come up with an idea for a business? Not that you started it, but you came up with an idea. Lots of good ideas. Lots of bad ideas, too. So, and they also don't care about your past successes. I am just as likely to fail in this business as I was the business before me. I've got a little bit more experience, but your past successes do not predicate on your future successes. All right, so what does the marketplace care about? And you have to be thinking about this as you're developing your business, running your business, and changing your business. So, of course, they care about things that affect their own lives. So, number one, they care about money. Is it saving them money? Is it making them money? How does it affect them monetarily? It seems like we never have enough money. Next thing is, if we've got a lot of money, then we don't have a lot of time. So is this affecting them somehow with the time? Is it making it easier? Is this an app that makes it so that way they can do something quicker, more efficiently? Hassle. Hassle is a huge factor. If I could get skinny with no hassle, that would sure be nice. But unfortunately, pizza's a hassle, and so I'm not skinny. Next one, social status. This is an important thing. People care about how they look. They care about how people consider them, what they think about them. And so that's something to consider. Health. So again, anybody here have a bad back? Okay. When your back hurts, do you think about anything else? No, you're thinking about your bad back. Or you know, if you've got a neck, or even if you've got a pimple right here on the edge of your nose, that's what you're thinking about. Ultimately, what people care about is, are you affecting their personal happiness? And so as you're thinking about your business of why should we win? Why should my business actually be successful? You need to think about who your ultimate customer is and how are you affecting their lives. Because if you don't affect their lives enough, you're not going to get the business. Okay, next one. We must earn every single sale. And what makes us different? And so I'm going to talk about each of my businesses and what was the key thing that I felt made that business different, which is why it was successful. So things that made my business different. So first one is iboats.com again. So this is an online boating store and community and classifieds. One of the things that made us different is that, we were able to start it in '98. It made a huge difference. If you were to ask me today, hey Bruno, what's the likelihood of you starting iboats.com today and it succeeding? I give it 0% chance. There's nothing. I was into the market early. And that's key. It was lucky for me, but it was key for my business. And so part of what you need to look at as you're evaluating your own business is, where am I in this marketplace? So anybody ever thought up any kind of an app that would be really cool? Okay, so a couple apps. Are you early or late to the app market? You're both. You're both. So, I want an app that when I listen to a song, I can click it and it tells me who the artist is. Well, Shazam. It's already there. So the challenge is going to be is to look at it and say, has this already been done? Has it already been done 10 times, 100 times? When it comes to the App Store, it's probably been done 1,000 times. So that obviously that's against you. Doesn't mean don't try it, but it also means you need to now look and consider what's different. So we were early on. The next thing I have is manufacturer and distributor relationships. This was a real key with both this business and all my businesses. And that is, we got in very close with the boat accessory manufacturers. In fact, I'd travel to Thailand, or I'd travel to China and actually go to the factories and see where did they make some of these products and things. We became very close with the manufacturers. If I'm a retailer and there's a manufacturer, sometimes people feel like there is a natural tendency for us to fight each other. Because I'm always trying to whittle them down in price. They're always trying to get me to sell more and take more inventory, that kind of a thing. But I'll tell you what, if you buck the trend and you become close friends and partners with them, all of a sudden, let's say they've got a closeout where they have, in my case, 15,000 propellers that they're now discontinuing. Who are they going to go to first? Are they going to go to that, no offense to Cabela's, but are they going to go to Cabela's that beats them up all the time on pricing? Or are they going to go to their partners that they like doing business with? And so what we found is that we actually got better pricing than the guys that would beat them up all the time because we were nice to them. We'd go snowmobiling with them. We didn't give them gifts or anything like that, but we got to know them and we treated them fairly. Distributors are the same thing. So if you understand the retail chain, manufacturer makes the product, and then it doesn't always then go straight to the retailer. Oftentimes there's a distributor in between. And so what they do is they work with many dozens or hundreds of manufacturers, bring all the products in, and then they are the ones that then ship it out to the individual retailers. So distributors were key as well. Where we were unique is that we got in very close with our distributor partners again. And instead of beating them up on price, we allowed them to give us opportunities to earn better pricing. And it worked out well. So in the end, we had distributors that, as new .coms came on and said, hey, I want to sell that too. They said, we're happy with iboats.com. We don't need to sell you as well. They're taking care of us. So actually helped us to corner the market, you could say. And then the last thing is finders. Let me give you an example of what I think a finder is. There's a lot of opportunity still on the internet for this. I was contemplating starting a business that would work with Amazon on this, and then I just got too excited about radioactive gas coming through your basement instead. So what is a finder? This right here is an example of iboats.com up here on the left, and then West Marine is on the right. So West Marine is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They're the largest boating retailer. They have hundreds of stores, brick and mortar stores. So what I did is I went to the websites and I did a search for boat propellers. And let's see what the difference is. Let's actually start with West Marine first. So this is a common problem still on the web. So you do a search for boat propellers, and what do you see? You start seeing individual SKUs, individual products coming up. Well, I own a 2002 Mercury 150 horsepower outboard. Is this first one right here, does this even fit my boat? So you can see what the problem is that they just start throwing products at you. They've not qualified. Is this even applicable to you? So of course, we all know that Amazon has great categorization and things like that. Amazon today really struggles with this. You do not have finders on them. What they're doing oftentimes is that they will do an off link from their website to the manufacturer. Let's say that you want, I've seen this with car racks. So it takes you to the manufacturer, you then use their selector tool, and then it jumps you back into Amazon and you can buy it there. So it's kind of that way, but that's not very seamless. And they're losing a lot of control with that. So I predict you're easily going to see in the next 5 years to 10 years, let's just say 5 years, 10 years forever from now, 5 years that you're going to then have plenty of this kind of finder technology on Amazon and the other big boys, because you have to do it to be successful. So now we're looking at iBoats, and instead of starting to show you individual products, we start asking you questions. And that's really what the key of a finder is all right, what do you have? What do you need? Let's narrow it down, then let's show you the products that relates to you. Car websites, they're pretty good at that. They usually ask you, what kind of car you have. I've got a Volvo Penta or a Volvo, whatever. But that was one of the things that was successful for us. Let's jump on the next one. Tailor-made awnings. So why was this successful? What was my key or my core advantage? And that was, as I said before, I got the exclusive on the web. So there are other big players out there, and they're doing a lot of advertising, which lets people know about my products. But if I'm the only one that can sell a big brand like TaylorMade, boy, that's a great key advantage. And many tens of thousands of awnings later, it's been a good bet. So again, if you can get the exclusive on something, you don't have to compete against everybody else with the same product. That's something. So amino diet. What's key here? By the way, amino diet would not be successful if I started it today doing what we did. So what we did is we got onto Facebook and we started doing advertising, and we saw it wasn't successful. And so it's like, okay, well, we're wasting a lot of money. But then we kept testing other types of things on other types of ads, still wasn't successful. So where it finally came down to it is we started sharing the success stories, because we had thousands of people that were very successful with it. And we started creating ads of our success stories. So what was really funny is we'd run this ad, and a lot of people on Facebook wouldn't know it was an ad. And so they were congratulating our ads, and they were sharing our ads, and they were asking questions. You can actually, if you see an ad, you can actually comment and like it. So, I mean, one ad would have 10,000 likes, and people didn't even know it was in an advertisement. It doesn't really work that way anymore. Facebook got wise. But what we were sharing was legitimate, true stories, real content, but we were exploiting social media in a way that if we paid for ads, we would get seen, and people wouldn't really know that they were dealing with an ad. My wife's flower company, Over the Top Events. So I think it is by far the best Instagram in Utah. In 1 year, it has 23,000 likes. I don't do Instagram a lot, but I mean, is that pretty impressive for Instagram? I mean, for a local company? The way that we did it is looking at the floral business, thought, okay, so she's amazing. She makes beautiful arrangements, but she then takes it. She has beautiful brides, but then we have a professional photographer that the bride is paying for to take pictures. So what my wife did is she started getting in really good with the photographers, and then she'd say, hey, if I can post some of your pictures, I'll tag you on Instagram, and it'll be a great marketing tool for you, but then people would then see my work. Well, again, 1 year later and 23,000 followers later, it's worked really well. It's taken some work. She spends about 30 minutes a day actively working her Instagram, but it's been very successful. And she's already considered one of the top wedding florists in the state. So I'm really proud of her. Utah Radon Services. So this is my new business that I've just barely started up. So what am I doing now? It's free testing, and I'm also a lot more aggressive. So 10 seconds. Radon comes from uranium in the ground. It turns into radon as it decays. The radon comes up through our basements. Most people don't know this, but radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the U.S. It kills over 21,000 people a year of lung cancer. Put it in perspective, there's about 18,000 people that die from drunk drivers. So radon kills more people than drunk drivers, but people just don't know about it because in the state, they haven't been very aggressive of marketing it. So looking at the opportunity here, as I was looking at this business to start it, there in Colorado, there's over 200 radon companies. In Utah, there's about 5. And now there's 6. So that was a real opportunity. So okay, marketplace, I'm really in, but how am I going to make a difference? Right now, the radon companies are charging about $150 to do a test on your house. I said, I'm going to put my marketing money where my mouth is. I'm going to do free testing. And the reason why is about 1 in 3 homes in Utah actually have elevated unhealthy radon levels. So let's just test everybody. Let's test them, and those that have high levels will give a free quote. If they want to fix it, then my company will fix it. So that's the key for this latest business. In terms of the more aggressive, if you go to the internet, my competitors they put up a web page, but that's about it. They're not very aggressively marketing it. And with my internet background, I thought, okay, another key advantage. Okay, so in summary, you'd better have a compelling reason of why your business is going to be different, why your business is going to be make it. Or tell you what, don't start it yet. If you cannot convince yourself and your parents and your friends that, hey, this is a really good idea and that it's compelling and it's different and this is why you should earn the business, you're not ready to go yet. 3 times rule. So congratulations, you have your business plan figured out, you're all excited to go, and you're not ready yet. You need to multiply your business plan by 3 or you're in big trouble. What do I mean by 3? So first thing is you need to plan on it taking you 3 times as long as you thought it would to launch, to get going. I was just barely talking to a good friend driving down here. He's started up a drone business, and he got certified with the FAA. He's a pilot, and so he actually now can fly drones to take pictures for real estate transactions and stuff. That's awesome. Well, guess what? He got certified months ago, and he's still talking about creating his business card and creating his website. He's super excited, and he's going to do a great job. He builds good winches. But this gentleman, it's taking him a lot more time than he thought. He can still be successful because he's not spending a lot of money, but he didn't. If you would have asked him 6 months ago, where are you going to be at this point, he'd think a lot further. So time's the first one. I think you could probably guess the second one. 3 times the money. Unfortunately, it holds true. I studied finance in the university, so I thought I had a pretty good handle on it. But it's interesting. It still takes a lot more money than you think, and that's really key. If you can, let's say you think, okay, this business, I'm going to create ABC app. It's going to take me $10,000 to develop. No, it's not. It's going to take you $30,000 if you're lucky. And so if you don't have the means of coming up with that extra $20,000, you can start it, but you might not finish it. So just be aware of that. Things always take longer, always cost more than you think. So if it can somehow stand the 3 times test, it might survive. Doesn't mean that it's going to survive, but it just might. You just take my word for it. It takes longer than you think. All right, let's talk a little bit about fear. There are a lot of motivational speakers that are really eloquent and really funny, and they focus on fear. There's a lot of people that get into trying to start their own business, but they don't succeed. In fact, they don't even try, they don't even get started. A lot of that can be chalked up to fear. Fear can do one of 2 things. It can cripple you, or it can actually motivate you and it can drive you. I'll tell you what, when you have a mortgage that you know that you have to make a payment on, the fear of defaulting on the mortgage, that keeps you at the office a little bit longer. Or fear of you borrowed some money from your parents to start a business, and you have to pay that back, or you have to answer to them of what you did with the money. I'm not going to dwell on it too long. This could be an entire lecture right here on fear. But what I just wanted to share one experience, and then we'll move on. As I've been creating this new business, I've actually thought a lot about giving this presentation. I thought, okay, cool, I'm back in it, and what am I going to share? Just last week, I caught myself being fearful, and it was interesting. I didn't know it. I was putting off calling broker offices to try to set up meetings. I was coming up with a bunch of different excuses. Ultimately, it came down to I was afraid of rejection. I've had a lot of success for a long time now, and I haven't been actually rejected in business for a long time. I thought, I'm afraid of rejection. And it's like, you know what? Gosh darn it, put my pants on, go give them a call. And rejection is not a bad thing. It really isn't. And they're not, think about it, they don't know me personally. I'm just somebody on the phone. Suck it up and go do it. And so I started making phone calls, and it went great. But the point I'm making is that any level of business, whether you've been doing it for 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you still have to overcome the fear, but it could be of different things. So again, don't let it cripple you, let it drive you. Plan on having that fear, and plan on how are you going to then deal with it. So there's different ways, of course, of there's going out, there's recreating, there's working out, there's meditating, there's other things, but you're going to need to handle your fear. Let's go to the next one. Let me ask you, of all the things that are the most important in a business, what do you think the most important thing to handle and to know is? Customer relationships? Any other ideas? Employees? Anything else? I'm sorry, what was that? Know your cash flow. It's your money. Again, coming from a finance guy, know your cash flow. Because you know what? You plan on, all right, this week I know I've got these expenses, I need to pay these employees, that kind of thing. So you plan on this amount of money. But then what happens? One of your vehicles breaks down, and you got to do that. You suddenly find out that, in fact, I just barely found this out yesterday. So I'm building my fleet of vehicles. I'm gonna start crying here. I just bought 2 Ford Focuses, so that my sales guys can go drive around. And the insurance company said, yeah, it'll be $210 a month to insure these Ford Focuses. Let me just tell you, an Italian sports car is less than that in terms of insurance than a Ford Focus. But the reason why is because now I've got this fleet of vehicles, and so they're robbing me. Point is, unexpected expenses. It just keeps coming, and as you are focusing on your business, you need to think daily and plan daily on what is my cash flow coming up. Because I'll tell you what, how many of you have ever had an employer miss a payroll where they didn't pay you? Okay, how long did you stay? Okay, you miss payroll, your team's gone. You're done. And by the way, you look like a schmuck, So you can't miss payroll. You can't miss rent. You can't miss paying on the other loans. You have your own mortgage. It's really key. So let's just move on because there's other things. So somebody said people. People, people, people. And this really is a key point. So there are a couple of cliches. So you might hear, oh, it's all about the people. Investment bankers, they're full of cliches. By the way, they've usually never done it themselves. They just talk a good talk and then they give people money and they think that they're amazing. I'm not a real fan, but they're necessary. So it's all about the people. Okay, great. Well, what's another cliche? So, if I've got the right team, we could sell anything. We could do any kind of a business. While that might be true, it depends on what you do with those people. So let's talk a little bit about that. So to start with, let's start at the top of the business, and that is the owners. So are you a sole proprietor? Is it your business? Or did you go in with a partner? So for example, with iBoats, I was like 23, 24 years old. I didn't have anything. I couldn't do it myself, so I went in with my father. He was an amazing partner for those 16 years. And it was great for me because without him I wouldn't have been able to get started. And the opposite is true. Is because of this business he was able to retire and enjoy his retirement. So it was symbiotic. But how many bad partnerships are there out there? Oh my goodness. The worst thing that you can have is what? Bad marriage. Okay, that's the first one. But the second one, bad partnership with your business. And so it's just, in fact, you're going to end up spending more time with your business partner than you are going to be with your spouse, realistically. If you look at the time spent during the day, you have to have the right partner. But when you do get the right one, it's just magic. Because guess what? You've got somebody else that cares just as much about the business as you do. And they're going to look out for it. You can go on vacation, and guess what? You've got somebody back at the homestead watching the fires burn. So partners are good if you can get them. Employees, of course, we all know that it takes the right employees, but it also takes of how you treat the employees and what they think of you and how motivated they are. The thing I found is get good people, train them well, and then give them responsibility and get out of the way. In fact, even better than that, find people better than you, admit it to them, because then they can hold it over your head and they think that they feel all special. Let them know they're better than you at that specific thing, and then just let them run, let them flourish, let them have success. And the net result of that is that at iBoats, most of my employees had been in the business for well over 10 years. People would come, they just never leave because it was a good place. We actually didn't pay the highest of everybody out there. We paid well, but we didn't have to pay, and we didn't have to work them 60 hours a week. We worked them 40 hours a week, but we gave them responsibility and duties, and they fulfilled them. Outside partners. I talked about this a little bit more with the manufacturers and the distributors, and that is those people that you work with, whether it's your suppliers, whether even your landlord, treat them as a partner and with respect, and you'll go a lot longer. I found out the wrong way once. I tried to be a tough guy with one distributor early on, and they just they stood up from the meeting and said, "I don't want to sell to you. Get out of here." And it didn't work. So maybe you guys will have success being the tough guy or tough gal, but it didn't work for me. Here's a key thing that I see way too many entrepreneurs feel this way, and they think in order to be successful, you have to have a winner and a loser. So if I'm the retailer, I have to gouge you, and the loser is you overpaid for this product. Or if it is a manufacturer-supplier relationship. If your suppliers are making money off you, they're happy, they're going to try to make you succeed. And so you don't actually have to, have a win-or-lose relationship. And then the last thing is competitors. Just remember, someday it might be your competitors that are buying you. So treat them well. Next thing is focus and prioritization. So I personally, let's see, how many here would consider yourself a little bit ADD? Come on. You're going to make great entrepreneurs. But you're going to have to manage yourself, or else you're going to just be too scatterbrained. I personally like to do a minimum task list for the day at the beginning of the morning and say, I got to get these things done before I can leave at the end of the day. Other thing you can do is you can review weekly with your team. And again, you're using your team members to help you to know what to prioritize. You need to be flexible to a degree, because you know what? As you start up your business, you're going to have a lot of assumptions. Not all of them are going to be true. In fact, expect for many of them not to be accurate, and be willing to adjust as a result of it. So you started your business based on assumptions. You need to adjust as you see opportunities present themselves. And remember, though, your people need stability. Because if you're jumping all over the place, that's not a really fun place to work for, and they'll feel like they're being jerked around. So you have to be flexible, but it has to be in moderation. Admit when you're wrong. People love it when the boss is wrong. They really do. And if you just readily admit it, then you don't look as stupid, because they know that you look stupid. If you admit it, then you kind of deflate their bubbles. I've seen this with all my businesses. After 1 year in business, the business plan was actually very different of how we got to that 1 year success. Expect your business to be different. Expect it to evolve. But in a positive way, expect it to grow. And then the last thing is opportunity cost is real. Anybody here, what does opportunity cost mean? Yeah. Okay, what he said is you're putting off something that you could have had for what you have now. So your guys' opportunity cost is that you're sitting here listening to me instead of up there in the mountains playing around ATVing. That's the opportunity cost. But there's a benefit here too. You're going to get credit for this, and ATVing, you'd probably get in trouble. So, opportunity cost. This is really important. So, I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs, and they kill themselves year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Life is like a pendulum in many different ways. So, the pendulum often is way off to one side, way too much, instead of right in the middle and balanced. So, you find that the first year or two, you're staying up late nights, you're working weekends, that kind of thing. That's okay. Are you working late? Yeah, fine. I'm working late again. That's okay. But how long should you do that for? Because your business is not going to be solid and is not going to allow you to retire after 1 year. But you have other things to consider too. So I thought this was a really sweet picture. When you're starting your business, most likely your kids are not going to be older, they're going to be younger. So how long are you going to be staying at the office at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night compared to saying goodnight to your kids? So unfortunately, families can be goofy, but you got to love them and you got to spend time with them. I can promise you the tendency is going to be to spend too much time working after year 1 than what's really the most important, and that's spending time and caring for your family. So just something to consider. Doesn't mean that you can then just go on vacation all the time, but it's important. So just to wrap up, success really does beget success. So once you see success, it's interesting. You're going to have some opportunities. You actually have maybe some money to start something else. People often will then bring you ideas. They say, oh, here's success. Well, I'm going to bring them an idea. So what I found is about 30 ideas might mean one decent idea. And so they're going to flatter you. They're going to say, oh, you're great, you're successful, do this. And you almost want to, your ego wants to show them, yeah, I'll do this. You need to have discipline to say no a lot more than you do say yes. My accountant said that he's seen a lot more of his entrepreneurs lose money in other people's businesses than their own. And that's really true. So don't just be flippant with your money and throw it around. Contacts and relationships open doors. Makes sense. And you need to be careful. There's a lot of people that have had success that then start believing that they've got the golden finger, that what they touch will turn to gold like Midas. I just went to lunch 2 days ago with a really good friend I grew up with. He sold his first company to Amazon, made millions. He then bought another company, grew it, and today it's about $60 million in revenue. And so he's selling that. And he thought, okay, my third business, I'm going to be awesome. And he created a game app. And $2 million later of investors' money, they have 2,000 users and they're not making any money. You've got to be super careful. Every single time, it's just as hard. In fact, it could be harder because you might think that you're better than you really are. So you don't have Midas's touch. But it doesn't mean that you don't have some skills and some capacities. So let's just recapping. So you need to understand, why is my business, why is it even worthy of succeeding? 3 times everything. You're going to feel fear, and you need to be prepared for it, and it can be paralyzing. If you don't know how to make the next payroll, you got to figure it out. And the successful ones are those that can still think on their feet even when they feel the fear. Cash flow, you got to remember the cash flow aspects. You got to treat your people well, and just be a nice person to them. And you need to regularly reassess your priorities and your focus. And if you do all that, you might succeed. So, thank you. We ended a little bit early so we can take some questions. Anybody has any questions? Happy to answer. Yes? Can you say it again? Oh, how do we make money? Okay, so she asked, if we do our radon testing for free, how do we make money? Well, once you then find out that your house has high levels of radon, you need to fix it. And the systems cost around $1,350 to install them. So I actually have teams of people that drive out to homes and they install the systems to fix it, and it takes the radon out of the house. So that's a good question. Any other questions? Yes? Great question. So he asked, how am I advertising the radon business? So it's still fairly early on, but most radon testing right now is done during real estate transactions. And so what we're doing is we're actively focusing on letting the real estate agents know that we're even here, and then also that the test now can be free. With only 20% of houses being tested during a real estate transaction because of the cost, now all of a sudden, if the realtors know about it, they can then say, hey, you know what? I know a company that can do it for free. And so really everybody should do a test. So instead of going out to the public, and we are doing a little bit of things with the public, we're focusing right now on real estate transactions. As we get larger, we are going to do some things. The state is going to do a public awareness thing the first quarter where they're going to spend $150,000 letting the public know about it. And as they look on the internet, based on SEO, we'll be found.
Is that more predominant in older homes or new homes or apartments? Does it matter?
Great question. It's actually in every single home. So older homes are drafty, and so the radon is easy to get in, but then it's easy to get out. Newer homes are really tight, but that has what's called a smokestack effect, and it actually sucks the air out of the ground because there's negative pressure inside the home. So actually, all homes have problems. All homes need to be tested. But the good news is that there is a way to fix it. Yeah?
If you could go back to school, what hard skills do you want to develop to help you not?
Okay, if I were to go back to school, what hard skills? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm really happy that I studied finance because, quite frankly, really super boring. And like to sit in QuickBooks and entering and stuff, super boring. But because I understand the cash flow and the financial aspects of a business, then I can focus on other things such as the marketing and the selling and things. I don't know. Anybody here a marketing person? Okay, marketing's really important. You need to be able to pay for it though. So I personally did finance, but if I had to go back to school today and study finance, I'd probably put a bullet in my head, but it does help me that I did. It's true. Any other questions?
Yeah, you said you had an exclusive on the awning.
Yes.
How do you get that exclusive? Is this a relationship
Sure.
with your thing?
So the question is, how did I get the exclusive on the awning company? And the answer is that I was already purchasing, I was their largest customer for boat covers of that company. And so they already knew that I'd perform, and I had a personal relationship with him. And so when they...
Verbalizing, you got the exclusive.
Oh, yeah. In fact, by the way, do everything in contracts. This, gentleman's handshake thing, don't do it. Employee agreements, agreements with everybody else. Put it in writing. Have a good lawyer do it. It's worth it. And it's not that you don't trust people. It's that 3 years later, you can't remember what you agreed to. So it's good to always have contracts. Have them in writing. We'll tell you what, I'll take some more questions up here, but thank you for coming and hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.